Behind me is California Lighthouse, but we're not in California. We're in Aruba.
The California Lighthouse is one of Aruba's best-known landmarks, and if you choose to take a tour up to the top, you'll be treated to what many claim is the most spectacular panoramic view of the island. The tour itself involves a long climb up the lighthouse's winding steps, while a guide gives you some facts about Aruba and the lighthouse. It's definitely a great way to see a bird's-eye view of this amazing island, but there's enough steps that you can probably cut out leg day from your workouts this week. Also, there wouldn't have been a need for a lighthouse if there weren't some sharp rocks nearby, so make sure you have comfortable and durable footwear for walking around the surrounding area, which some have described as moon-like. Speaking of amazing views, Aruba's lodging options offer plenty of opportunities to be close to a beach. The Airbnb we booked was well aware of Aruba's tropical draw and utilized a color scheme that echoes the island's gorgeous waters. Sea, sand, and waves are what this island is all about, so even though we didn't spend a lot of time indoors, it was nice to have a place that was full of reminders that there was a paradise waiting right outside. It definitely helped fuel our desire to explore.
We asked a couple guys down the street where a great place to get breakfast was, and both of them at the same time said Dutch Pancake House. So we figured we'd give it a try. The pancake options are incredible. They have tons of options. We couldn't make a decision, so we got half and half and split them to get a little bit of a sweet and a little bit of savory.
Dutch pancakes, much like Dutch people, tend to be thinner than their American counterparts. These pancakes are more similar in size and shape to what we call crepes, and here at the Dutch Pancake House, their menu features 75 different choices of sweet and savory options. Since this place is well known and heavily recommended by people here in Aruba, be sure to factor in some wait time, as this place often has long lines and you don't want to end up hangry. The restaurant is located in the Renaissance Marketplace with plenty of free parking nearby and is only a short walk to the ocean.
There are a lot of ways to get to Aruba. You can get here by cruise ship, you can get here by airplane, or you can come by on your own private boat. But no matter what, when you come to this harbor, you're right in the middle of town, so there's a lot to do here.
A lot of travelers' first trip to Aruba is often just one stop on part of a longer cruise. Luckily, Aruba packs a lot in on a small island, so no matter how short your stay, you'll be able to really enjoy yourself, and this harbor is a great place to start and a destination in its own right. The variety of ships here is truly amazing, and there's always a number of seabirds around cooling off or flying overhead in search of something to eat. And while the towns of Aruba are definitely full of activities for tourists, a car rental or tour group will help you get off the beaten path. For a place surrounded by water, you might be surprised by the amount of desert landscape Aruba holds, complete with dry, windy roads and plenty of beautiful cacti.
Behind me is Alto Vista Chapel here in Aruba, and this particular building was built in 1950, but it's built on the site of the original, which was built in 1750. And it's just a very iconic thing here in Aruba.
Also known as Pilgrim's Church, this small Catholic chapel is a beautiful little sanctuary northeast of the town of Nord. The church is painted a bright yellow, which causes it to pop out against the blue sky. It's a striking image that I'm sure has inspired many painters and photographers, as well as religious pilgrims in equal measure. This small chapel is said to be the first church established in Aruba, and although its isolation gives off a sense of peace and quiet reflections now, its solitude actually has a less than joyous history. There was originally a whole town around the chapel, but a tragic plague struck the town, killing many of the residents, and those that did survive moved rather than risk becoming victims themselves. The chapel that stands here now was actually built over the site of the original straw roof church that first stood here. Like many historic churches, this chapel is still used regularly for services as a priest from the nearby town of Nord conducts weekly mass. And if the chapel didn't offer you enough tranquility and quiet reflection, the surrounding desert roads are equally peaceful and lined with white crosses which pay homage to the path of Jesus of Nazareth on the journey leading up to his crucifixion.
This is Bashiribama Ruins, and we're going to go have a look and see what it's like. It's a fun and easy climb. Makes me feel 18 again.
People often dream of searching the Caribbean for buried gold as part of a high seas adventure. But most buried gold isn't waiting for you in a treasure chest. It's in a mine, and it's probably got a lot of other minerals stuck to it. Although Disney World might never make a ride called the Gold Smelters of the Caribbean, you can get the next best thing by visiting these ruins that were originally part of the Aruba Gold Concessions Company before it closed during the First World War. If you're looking for a decent little climb coupled with some history, then this place is definitely worth the stop. Even if you're not a history and climbing buff, you're sure to enjoy the pleasant ocean breeze and the laid-back atmosphere that encircles this area. Make sure and stop by the local vendor who sets up shop nearby to get a delicious orange freeze that is its own form of treasure on a hot island day. Everyone here is very friendly, and if nothing else, their bathroom signs are sure to make you chuckle.
We're at the Aruba Ostrich Farm, and I'm here with Marianne. How are you doing?
Very good, thank you.
And this is a male behind us, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And so basically you all are just an ostrich farm. These ostriches stay alive for pretty much ever.
Yes, they do. They have a lifespan of 80 years in captivity,
Wow.
with an average of 50, 55 in the wild. So yeah, they probably will outlive me.
Wow.
These avian beasts definitely have some size, but luckily they're not self-conscious about their bodies and are ready to meet everyone who visits. I made such a good first impression that they came right up to greet me, which may or may not have had something to do with the bowl of food I was holding. Watching these guys attack the bird food is truly fascinating, and I'll definitely have a different image in my head the next time someone uses the phrase, "eats like a bird."
And we have here about 24 ostriches, so we're really small for an ostrich farm. Because normally if you do farming and you want to harvest the meat, then you talk about 6,000-7,000 birds at the farm.
The tour guides here are full of information, and if you've got kids, this place will definitely grow their fascination with the world's largest bird. I'm sure many a traveler has had to deal with their kid obsessively spouting ostrich facts at them the remainder of their vacation after a visit here. There are some really big birds here on Aruba. Within 45 days of being born, ostrich chicks can already be eating up to 2 pounds of ostrich rations per day, and their appetite only grows from there. By the time breeding season comes around, they might be eating 4 to 5 pounds of feed per day, which they're able to store in their 3 stomachs. One of the most interesting sights you might get to witness here is an ostrich mating dance, which is only slightly better than my moves on the dance floor. Of course, the largest bird in the world would also lay the largest egg in the world. Finding one of these bad boys without an ostrich around might make you think you were in Jurassic Park.
This makes up about 24 chicken eggs, and this one makes up about 12. And as you can tell, they're pretty good size.
Even though ostriches are the definite star of the farm, they're not the only large bird here. The farm also houses a number of emus, who are the second largest bird in the world, but they do have their enviable distinction of being the only birds with calf muscles, which makes me wonder if they've been taking tours of the California Lighthouse when the farmers aren't looking. Although they don't really need much assistance to get a good view of their surroundings, as they have excellent eyesight and can jump 4 to 6 feet straight up into the air. Both of these birds are a sight to behold, and their prehistoric size fits well nestled amongst this epic landscape. For such a small island, Aruba often goes big. Even their rocks are huge.
Behind me is the Ayo Rock Formations here in Aruba, and they are considered to be the Stonehenge of Aruba.
This area was once considered a sacred place by the Arawak Indians, who were the original inhabitants of Aruba. Considering how flat most of Aruba is, these boulders rise up from the earth like sleeping giants. Climbing to the top of these behemoths allow for amazing views of the dry Aruba landscape surrounding them. It is possible the height of these stones is what made them so revered by the original inhabitants, allowing them to see far off in the distance and get advance notice of any approaching storms. If you look closely, you may even be able to see some rock drawings dating back thousands of years. Ayo aren't the only unusual rock formations on this island, as the Kasabari formations are equally mysterious. And we aren't done exploring Aruba's natural wonders just yet. This island has some amazing beaches, deserts, ruins, and rocks. But if we were really going to forge a relationship with this place, we had to figure out what she's like on the inside, which left us with two options: give the whole island a personality test, or visit some caves.
We're at the Fontaine Caves here in Aruba, and they go back about maybe 200 feet.
These small caves hide a whole lot of history within their walls. In addition to your normal cave attractions such as stalagmites and stalactites of various shapes and sizes, and of course the sort of darkness you can only get by literally being inside the earth, these caves are also home to some ancient Arawak drawings. There's often tours going on inside the cave, which is great for learning more about these limestone structures, but not so great for staying cool, since packing a group of people inside can cause the caves to get muggy pretty quickly. Even if there isn't a tour going on, you're really never alone in these caves, as the nooks and crannies are home to some long-tongued bats, which we're grateful to have not met any ourselves, but it's nice knowing they're always watching. We decided to finish up our trip in the town of San Nicolas. You might expect a town that shares a name with good old Saint Nick to be more of an Arctic local, but aside from being the inspiration for Santa Claus, this town's namesake was also the patron saint of sailors, merchants, archers, repentant thieves, children, brewers, pawnbrokers, and students, so I think the busy guy deserves a tropical second home.
We're at Charlie's Bar in San Nicolas in Aruba, and this bar is listed as world famous. And if you look at all the memorabilia, you can see why. It's a very eclectic bar, definitely worth coming to see. They serve food as well as drink.
Ah, Charlie's. Finally a drinking establishment that a hoarder can feel at home in. Marie Kondo's head might explode if she were to ever set foot inside of Aruba's most famous bar. This place definitely doesn't embrace her minimalist lifestyle philosophy, as every inch of the bar, from the walls to the ceilings, is covered with some type of knick-knack, but regardless of the chaos, or maybe even because of it, this place definitely sparks joy. For over 75 years, Charlie's has been serving up food and drinks. Their beer is cold and their seafood is good, so really what else can you ask for from such a unique place? The place is an Instagrammer's dream, so naturally this place stays busy with tourists, but that's a good thing in that it also brings in local entertainers looking to make a few bucks. During our time there, we were treated to some live music by an entertainer who took a genuine interest in where we were from.
Where you guys from? Pennsylvania?
North Carolina.
North Carolina!
Yeah.
Travelers are a big part of what makes Charlie's Charlie's, and you can even leave behind a small personal item of your own to help add to their collection of international memorabilia.
This ends our time in Aruba, and this was a fantastic place. It's a little more Americanized of the ABC Islands, but there is a ton to do. It's about the same size as Bonaire, but man, are there a lot more people and a lot more things to do. So if you want solitude, Bonaire, but if you want a lot of things to do, Aruba's your place.